Bill Maher did a segment on his show, Real Time with Bill Maher, I believe 2 or 3 days ago. I think it was 3 days. It'll be 3 days by the time this recording drops. Talking about how the country needs healing and articulating a lot of the problems of people who are on the right who, basically feel like Trump is their only option or their only answer to their problems. Now, normally, I know what you're thinking. Bill Maher, standard Democrat, which in many ways he is a standard Democrat or like a centrist Democrat. Although I must say that I do enjoy some of his content. I'm not gonna lie, Bill Maher's like a guilty pleasure. But anyways, that aside, I do think he has something solid to say here. So, and I do agree with a lot of his points, a lot of the points that he articulated. So let's take a look and then let's discuss it.
One of the casualties in this attack on the Capitol this month was Ashley Babbitt. She was a Trump-loving small business owner. She had a pool cleaning company right down the road here in San Diego. She was an Air Force vet who served in Iraq and Afghanistan, and she lost her life trying to prevent Biden from becoming president, even though she had voted for the Obama-Biden ticket not that long ago. But somehow, she came to believe that if Joe became president, horses full of Greeks would rape our women and Georgia would go communist. She is the tragedy of the modern Republican voter personified, pissed off at the greed and corruption that, yes, has squeezed the middle class hard, but always coming up with the wrong answer to who is doing most of this squeezing. She was in financial trouble because in order to keep her business afloat, she resorted to a short-term loan with an interest rate of 169%. That's right, she was being charged 169% interest and went to Washington so she could chant, "Stop the steal!" She died for a second Trump term, even though that would have solved exactly none of her problems. The same mistake made by all of her friends in the Waffle House Brigade. Guys, you are storming the wrong building. The feet up shouldn't have been on Pelosi's desk. They should have been on Trump's tanning bed. You thought Trump was going to be your bull in the china shop? Yeah, he was, but you were the china. So, should Ashley Babbitt have applied better logic in seeing that her real problem in life wasn't pedophile Democrats or Antifa, and that people like Elizabeth Warren were actually the ones who were at least trying to do something about predatory lending and economic exploitation? Yes, yes. But not everyone can watch MSNBC all day. She had other priorities like fighting overseas. And maybe, since all politics is local, all she knew was that she lives in a state that seems to care more about her toxic whiteness than her toxic brokenness. And that the state that's run entirely by Democrats? Yeah, they didn't stop anyone from charging her 169% interest on a loan either. It shouldn't be that surprising that America is full of fed-up, unhappy people who just want to break shit. Trump sure didn't drain any swamps, but when it comes to graft and corruption and everybody wetting his beak, California, yeah, that's a swamp too. We can't put up a housing unit for the homeless for less than $500 grand, or build a rail line connecting the state for less than $200 million a mile. Even though in France, with all their socialism, they did it for more like 15 million. California is a blue state that is completely held together by red tape. It's no wonder people are leaving in droves. I am in year 4 of trying to get my solar power hooked up. Just building this shed up to code took 3 years. We'll all be getting our power from dilithium crystals before my solar gets turned on. How about this? Will you hook it up if I let the homeless live in it?
When he talks about Democrats being to blame, he is absolutely right. Absolutely right. And, you know, normally I feel like Bill Maher doesn't attack Democrats enough, especially like the establishment Democrats, you know. He's just kind of like, you know, not as eager to attack them, at least in the Bill Maher episodes I've seen. If you've seen other episodes that I haven't seen, by all means, please send them through. Drop the link in the comments. But by the way, subscribe if you haven't already, because a lot of you watch these videos constantly, but you're not subscribing. So subscribe. But he's absolutely right. Democrats are to blame, partially, for the situation. Now, I am in no way apologizing for the people who stormed the Capitals. And that's actually one of my criticisms of what Bill Maher says. He says, did they make a bad decision? Yes. But I'm like, they did a little bit more than a bad decision. You know, they tried to do a coup. They tried to do an insurrection. So that's one area where I would push back on him a little bit. And in no way would I be minimizing what took place at the Capitol last week. However, I do think that he's right that Democrats do take part of the blame. When you look at California, which is a place where there are so many homeless people, we can't even spend a couple $1 million to house them. When you can't even spend, like he said, $500 million to make sure that your infrastructure is good. When you can't even spend a couple $100,000 to make sure that people have food to eat. You know that you have problems. And, you know, again, I'm not going to say like, oh, California, a Democratic state, it sucks so bad. There are Republican states like Wyoming, for instance, where people are also in extreme poverty and where they have drug crises. Or, what is it? Is it North Dakota or South Dakota? I'm so sorry for anyone listening from there. I always get the two confused. I believe it's South Dakota was having like a big opioid crisis recently. Yeah, it was South Dakota. So there's a lot of problems that we have as a nation that are not being taken care of by both sides of the aisle. But the reason why I want to focus on the Democrats in this video is, number one, because I'm on the left. And I do care about the future direction of this party. And I think that this party should go more left and not more right, which is what they've been doing. But beyond that, I also just care about American people in general. And our politicians do not. They do not care about the average American person. You know, Democrats want to pretend, hey, Republicans, they don't care about people. But us, we care about people, so vote for us. But when it comes to actually solving problems like infrastructure, people being homeless, people being laid off, right? And people being attacked when it comes to loans. You know, like getting these extra high interest rates and being taken advantage of for these short-term loans. They've done nothing or little to nothing to address these problems. And this is why people are so frustrated. And this is why people were so quick to run to Trumpism. And they'll run to whatever comes up next that they feel like could be a viable solution. Now, it's the wrong solution. I want to make that clear. Running to Trumpism is the wrong solution. Running to any extreme position that causes you to want to create violence and to overturn the United States government is the wrong position to run to. But can you really blame the people? Because what's the right answer? What is the right answer? No one wants to talk about what the right answer is. They just want to say, those guys bad, us good, vote us. We love you, vote us. And then when they get voted in, they don't do anything. Now, that's not to say everyone's not doing anything. People like Bernie Sanders have constantly fought for housing for homeless people, or have said homeless people should be housed. Elizabeth Warren, like he said, did try to crack down on, loan people basically doing legalized loan sharking. That's basically what it is. A lot of these banks with these short-term loans. So there are people within the party that have tried to crack down on these things, but from a broad perspective, they have not done anything. The Democrats have been just preservers of the status quo. Like, look at Obama's entire presidency. He said, I'm going to come in, I'm going to help people. We're going to make sure that every American lives a better quality of life. And then what did he do to actually do that? Not much. So don't be surprised, Democrats, if they continue to do this, if they continue to say we're going to make your life materially better, and then they don't do it, or they do a bare minimum that doesn't help anybody as much as it could. Don't be surprised when people run to extremists like Donald Trump. The stimulus check is a perfect example. Joe Biden said, hey, if you elect me, we'll get $2,000 checks, right? And if you vote for Ossoff and Warnock, that's a vote for $2,000 checks. Now that those people have been elected, they're saying, oh, well, we'll give you $1,400 checks. On top of the $600, that's $2,000. Hey, yeah, see, we're giving you $2,000 checks. No. The $600 checks were already given out before you made your promise. So if you get $1,400 instead of $2,000, you are lying. You are lying. You are deceiving people, and you're trying to sell a $1,400 check as a $2,000 check. You're lying. Just give the damn $2,000 check to every American like you promised. See, this is the problem with this party. This party fundamentally doesn't really care about people. They care about themselves. And we like to think, oh, Democrats care, Republicans don't. A lot of the Democrats don't care either. I'm not going to say all, but a lot don't. And to be honest, a lot of them don't want to do the stimulus check either. Have you guys looked at the stimulus bill? I looked at it. I said, okay, the stimulus bill includes a $15 minimum wage. What? It includes this, that. And I'm like, and you might be thinking, oh, what's the problem? These are all good things. Yes, but these are all things that Republicans will vote against. So Democrats are effectively, and even people like Joe Manchin will probably vote against it. This won't pass. As the bill as it stands now won't pass. So they're effectively putting in poison pills so that the bill can get shot down, and then they can say, oh, we tried to help. Look, we even tried to give you a minimum wage, see, to $15. But the Republicans won't do it. You have the majority. Make it work. Make it work. You know how many, more than enough Republicans have come out on the record saying that they will vote for a single bill that only has the $2,000 checks. Pass that bill. Why are you playing these games? Why are you putting up bills that you know are not going to pass just so that you can virtue signal and say, hey, we did it? But Republicans and Joe Manchin, oh, he's basically a Democrat in name only. See, he's blocking us. We can't get anything done. Oh, looks like it's going to be like this for another 4 years. And then we'll be surprised when Donald Jr. or whoever the hell runs for the next presidential, Ted Cruz, whoever, runs for president and wins. We'll be surprised when they lose the House in 2022. We'll be surprised. We'll be utterly shocked when they lose their majority. Look, all the suburban voters who were scared of Trump, I have news for you. They're not scared of Ted Cruz. Well, maybe they are now because of what he's done. But they're not scared of Mitt Romney. They're not scared of these other Republicans who have the same ideology as Trump, who just have more decorum. So, given a choice between you and them, they will pick them every single time until you start passing substantive policy that will actually help the American people. And the woman who stormed the Capitol and who lost her life trying to do a coup to keep Donald Trump in office, she's not the only one who feels like this. More and more people will get desperate. And I love how Bill Maher also said, well, she didn't know because not everybody has time to watch MSNBC all day. She was serving her country. I love that. Absolutely love that. Because the people in right-wing media, MSNBC, see that they're so smug. And they just think like, oh my goodness, obviously we have the right position. We are the moral high ground. Everyone should think like us. And if you don't think like us, you're just evil. That's how they think. They really think they're like this hierarchy or this like amazing group of people. And they're not. They suck. The media is cucks to the establishment. The media is the establishment. But they're cucks. They do whatever they're told. They say whatever they're told. They're talking heads. That's it. They're propaganda wings for the Democratic Party. That's what they are. If Democrats don't actually start living up to their name and their legacy, the legacy of people like FDR, Lyndon B. Johnson, if they don't start doing things that materially help people and give people more rights, more privileges, more liberty, if they keep doing these bare minimum things, I got news for you. You might not have the House or the Senate in 2 years. You might not get the presidency back in 2024. You might not win anything. And then they can whine and complain about how, oh, we'd love to do things, but the government, is Republican. They won't help us pass anything and help you. So help me, help you. Yeah, that. Where's my pension? Where's my pension check? I'm gonna go to my state-funded healthcare right now. I think I broke it now. Good thing it's all paid for. Not that we can do that for regular people. And they're going to continue to do this routine over and over again. So, guys, actually, a gem by Bill Maher. Rare insight. I don't agree with how he minimizes. Did she make a mistake? Of course she did. But no, it wasn't a mistake. It was a direct threat of violence on the U.S. Capitol. These people wanted to kill Mike Pence. So I do not want to minimize that at all. But I do want to be fair and say, sometimes when people feel desperate and they feel like their back's against a wall, they do these type of things. Like, this is, in no way do I think this is as bad as storming the Capitol, because, my position on drugs is I feel like drugs should be legalized and regulated. But if someone's selling drugs, they say, oh, why would you do that? That's a crime. I'm like, well, if he's making $7.25 an hour and he's working at Dollar General and he has 2 kids and he doesn't know how he's going to pay for his kids, he feels like selling drugs is his only option. And to be honest, it kind of is. So, yes, I don't want to minimize the people who stormed the Capitol, but maybe, just maybe, some of these people feel like their only option is to destroy the United States government and do a coup because no one's solving their problems. Now, what I will say again is Trump did not solve these problems either. Which, to be honest, that is where I criticize the protesters a lot. I'm like, not protesters, the rioters a lot. So you guys really weren't that smart, because you fell for Trump. And he's a con man. But when people feel desperate, they'll do anything. So if the Democratic Party does not step up and start doing its job, we're going to see this type of stuff over and over and over again. Yeah, so, yeah, man. Just hopefully something changes and the light bulb goes off. But given the fact that the Democrats are patting themselves on the back and saying, hey, we did a good job, and then kicking themselves in the dick by already trying to reduce the stimulus bill, I highly doubt that anything will change.